What's up, kids? David here with Solid X State. And I tell you what, man, if you pay attention to the news, you will find, man, the streets of Hong Kong are no doubt enviable, man. It is enviable to the degree that the youth of Hong Kong, that is not lost on them the significance of the situation in which they find themselves immersed. You know, think of it, if you will, that it was in 1997 that Great Britain, in its folly, handed Hong Kong, the jewel of the Orient, over to Beijing, the butchers of the Orient. It was in 1997, 22 years ago. So one would then imagine that the youth of Hong Kong are a generation that has grown up knowing only Beijing in the rearview mirror, knowing only the influence of fascist China, pressing in on their borders, in their culture, in their media, in the narratives with which their world view is oriented. Beijing is there, eating away at their borders, defining for them what things mean, the way that Beijing would have things to be understood in defense of, their vision, their atheist vision of the world, their pro-Marxist vision of the world. And this is the world that the youth of Hong Kong grow up in. And so how is it that this same youth of Hong Kong are in the streets flying American flags? How is it that they know the words to the American national anthem? How is it how do they know this? How do they know? How is it not lost on them? The significance of the situation in which they find themselves. How is it that these youth have risen up, man, to the cause of America, that even we ourselves, that we Americans are so slow, if you will, so timid, if you will, to rise to the occasion? How many youth of America today have been raised on a People's History of America by that card-carrying communist Howard Zinn and their card-carrying communist professors in the universities and in the high schools that present to them an image of America wherein America is to be despised, America is to be thought of, as the abuser of humanity? How many youth today, how many American youth today, man, have graduated from our high schools, have graduated from our colleges, and it is lost on them. It is lost on them, the significance of America in the context of history, in the context of the history of nations. It is lost on them, the significance of the values that America purports to represent. I'll tell you what, recently there was some news footage of Hong Kong youth tearing down these what are facial recognition cameras that are up on these poles, these telephone pole type things. They're all over the streets. They're all over the city of Hong Kong. This apparatus of Big Brother, of that centralized bureaucracy of Big Brother, watching their comings and goings, man. And it is not lost on the youth of Hong Kong the significance of this, and they reject it. There's video of a bunch of kids tearing down, cutting down these steel poles and dropping these things in the street, man, and these cameras, and they freaking smash them and spray paint all over them. And it's like, how is it that the youth of America burn American flags? How is it that the youth of America, many young people today, think of socialism as a thing yet unexplored? As though the merits of socialism have not been tried again and again and again and again and again. Is it not the definition of an insanity to expect different results from something that has given you the same thing over and over and over and over? If there was a store that I went to, hypothetically, and every time I bought a carton of eggs, every time the eggs were rotten, and yet to go back again and again and again to the same store to buy the same carton of eggs, to bring them home and to crack them open, to find out that they're rotten, and to think that I can go back again. And this is what the premise of socialism is. In the modern world, it's been unpackaged, it's been fleshed out, and it's failed. Look at Venezuela today. How is it that the youth of America, how is it that the significance of the American flag and of the national anthem and of the Constitution and of the Declaration of Independence, how is it that it is lost on them? How is it that we have allowed our schools to poison the minds of our youth with disregard, with animosity for the tenets of Americanism? If you can really wrap your head around it, that's what's wrong with the world today. There's not enough America in the world. There's not enough America in Latin America. There wouldn't be so many Latinos pouring over the border illegally if there was more America in Latin America. Right? And it's not lost on the youth of Hong Kong. It's not lost on them when they reject the apparatus of Big Brother, when they reject the apparatus of that centralized fascist power looking over their shoulder, seeking to instruct them in the way that they ought to think, seeking to inform them in those government-approved ideas, those government-approved websites, those government-approved books, those government-approved words. And the youth of Hong Kong have said no. Sadly, man, some of the youth of America are saying yes to the apparatus of bureaucracy far removed, indifferent, cold, sterile, antiseptic thoughts towards us that are a matter of, of forcing their ideology. Americanism, man, is individualism, wherein we all are able to rise on one another's strengths. But first, our own strength. Fix what's wrong. Even Jesus himself, man, he said, take the log out of your own eye before you try to take the speck out of someone else's. American individualism. Take the log out of your own eye. Find your way. Provide for yourself. And in that, though, yet is a strength that is seemingly human, seemingly so right with the way of things, that people prosper, people grow, people become better people. We all start out as someone in need of standing up on our own 2 feet and rising to the occasion. The youth of Hong Kong, no doubt, are rising to the occasion. And it is enviable. It's hard not to see and hear what they're doing and be somewhat proud, man, of these youth that have got it together. They know what's going on. They know what Beijing represents, and they know what the American flag represents. Right, man, God bless, take care, subscribe, like, you know the business. Take care.